Forest Green Rovers owner Dale Vince joins us live. Dale, thanks so much for joining us. You didn't need this, I'm sure. Was that the tipping point as far as you were concerned with Toy carrying on or not carrying on as manager?
Yeah, it's good to be with you again, Jim. It's always fun. Even though the topics aren't always fun yet.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, look, this was a factor, right? I read some of what Troy said after that game. I didn't hear it, but I read it and I thought it was wrong. Very wrong. He did later apologize on Sky, so I think he knows it was wrong. But it was definitely a factor that, and our results, not our performances so much, because our performances, apart from that game, had been good. It was definitely a factor.
But that's what it did for him, really. Come the end of it all, did it push you too far?
Well, look, it was a factor, Jim. You know, there was the results. There was that, which I thought was wrong. I hadn't had a chance to speak to him because I'd been busy this week, and you know, he also had a disciplinary yesterday with the FA. They banned him for 4 games for I think it was abusive and violent language towards officials when he gets sent off against when we played Swindon, and that was a new factor. You know, that kind of thing had happened. So it was just a bundle of things. We haven't got a lot of time left, obviously, to save our season. And yesterday I felt that it was better to make the decision sooner rather than later, because I didn't think that this was going to work, given those things.
Out of curiosity, Dale, when we've both sat in this situation, I've made managerial decisions and choices and went through managers like knife through butter at times. And I know Troy, and I know him as a person. I'm just curious to see what was in your decision-making process to have put him in place in the first place.
Look, we were really chuffed when Troy joined the club. He wanted to be a coach, and we agreed that he'd be a player coach, assistant coach, and that actually our agreement at the time was that when the vacancy next came up, we were given the job of head coach. And we all expected that to take a couple of seasons, right? Dave Horseman left just before Christmas, sooner than anybody expected. And we both acknowledged at the time, the club and Troy said that this was sooner than expected, but we kept our word and we gave him the shot. And I guess that was a less than ideal start for him in the world of being a head coach, and obviously less than ideal for us as a club as well. I think it's something that we can all put down to experience. I think there's plenty to learn from it. I hope that, Troy learns from what's happened in the last week and stuff like that, because I think, he could go on and be a great coach. I hope so.
Dave, I just want to ask the question, just as a former player. So obviously you looked at him, and I've been actually with Troy, and he does have a very good way of analysing the game, clearly understands the game. I mean, in that, I thought it was quite insightful when he was just talking there about the players were telling him how they should play, even though he was trying to implement his ideas, yeah? So it's kind of like, when you put somebody into that sort of position, what did you do to try to support him? Because I did. Looking back now, should you not have had somebody with a great deal of experience to say, look, okay, half of this is what we say to the players and what we say publicly. Somebody there just to guide him. Okay, we like your ideas, but you can't say certain things. Did you put a support team around him?
Well, we have a big team actually. Support team staff. Analysts, and we've got a director of football as well. So I don't think he was lacking that. I think, I think he later said that he didn't regret what he said, but he regretted where and when he said it. And I think, that makes the most sense, right? You can be direct and blunt with players, for a time, right? If you carry on for too long, I think you lose them, but you can do that. And perhaps that's an important aspect of man management, but not in the press. I don't think that's a good thing to ever do. That's my view. And, I'm not sure he would think that now either. I honestly don't know, but I think it was a bit heat of the moment after the game and that kind of stuff. I don't think he lacks support or people around him, or common sense. And as you say, he does understand the game, and that was just a mistake.
But then should you not have supported him through that? Or you say this was like compounded by the fact that here we are facing suspension. I don't want that person representing my football club.
But I think that was a bad thing. There was an interview with the Telegraph as well, in which, things were said that were, denigrating to the club as well as the players. So that's another judgment question. And, and then there's the FA charge, 4-game ban, violent and abusive language towards officials. I mean, that's that's a hard thing to accept as well in terms of behaviour. So, like I said at the top of this, is a compounding, a joining of all of those things, and the lack of the results that we needed, and the position that we're in. And it's just a matter of making this decision now rather than another handful of games. That's all it is.
Dale, I've sat beside you at a home game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You would like life to be easier at the moment because you're down the foot of League Two and you're propping it up. And it seems everything around the place is great, and you've done a good job. There's a great atmosphere at the club. But the one thing you can't get right, it appears, for the time being, is the right head coach. You tried Big Duncan. It didn't work. And now Troy's come and gone. I mean, what's your thought process today?
Yeah, we're looking for an experienced league coach, actually. Someone who's been in League One, League Two, been there and done it. We're probably going to meet maybe 4 later on today, and then I've given up tomorrow as well to meet a few more. Trying to make a decision in the next couple of days. Want to kind of strike a balance between being fast but not overly hasty in terms of making this next appointment, because I think it's critical to the outcome of the season. But I think that's probably the obvious thing to say. But our thinking is get somebody with experience. To a degree, we have had coaches that had promise, had the potential in the past, but we don't have the luxury of that anymore.
Maybe there's a bit to be said in having a bit of guidance from someone who's been there and done it as well. Like a former fellow owner, like Mr. Jordan sitting to my right. A bit of consultation with him.
Yeah, I'm sure Dale would love that.
That'd be fine by me. Listen, I'm happy to have a chat if you've got some thoughts, Simon.
Can we recycle Simon?
I've never operated that far down the pyramid, Dale, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Dale, what a snob.
There was absolutely no need for that.
There was no need for that.
Dale, what do you want to say to Forest Green Rovers fans? They're a good lot. I've seen them. I've been chatting with them. I mean, you want to get this right, and you want to avoid the drop from League Two. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, I did some interviews at Wembley yesterday, and I was being asked if I had confidence that we could do that. And I'd repeat my answer really to a degree, which is say, look, I don't have confidence. I can't have confidence because the last 2 seasons, have not been good. But what I have is determination. And as a club, we are determined to get this right and to stay in the EFL. And that's what I've got to offer. We have great fans. They have stuck with us. We are in a pickle, but we'll get out of it together, I hope, and that's our complete intention. It's taking up, an awful lot of my time and thought and others here at the club and at the parent company to try and get this right. What we have basically, I think, if we look back at the last 18 months, is a failure of recruitment. Since we won League Two, we just haven't got that right.
Dale, I hope you get it right. You deserve to. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good luck.
Thank you, Jim, Simon, everybody.
See you, mate.
Cheers.